Good afternoon and welcome to Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor, and before we get started, I want to give you a programming note. We are going to move the show to the Tailor Made Productions page, so please make sure you go over there and like and follow that page so that you can watch the broadcast and also get all of your COVID-related updates, okay? Remember, go to the Tailor Made Productions page and like and follow that page. Angela Carr Patterson is with us today. She
Hi.
hello. We had such a great conversation last Monday, and I know that you were getting ready to do a webinar today anyway, Angela, because you had gotten so many people that were interested in your Making Love Work series. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So ladies, grab your single and married friends and let's have a great conversation. But first, let's go to our COVID community updates. Tomorrow is voting day in South Carolina. As a matter of fact, many states have primaries coming up, but tomorrow is voting day in South Carolina. You still have time to absentee vote. In Columbia, you can go to 2020 Hampton Street. The line is a little bit long, but it is moving really well. They're open until 5:30 today. Now, if you decide to vote tomorrow, make sure you're going to the right polling place. Again, if you live in Columbia, South Carolina, Richland County, you should have gotten a piece of mail Saturday if your voting place has changed. Many of them have been consolidated because there are not enough poll workers because of the coronavirus. So go to scvotes.org, make sure you know where your polling place is, and vote. Don't forget to take some folks with you. And if you need information on where to go and how to get to the polls, the Comet is giving free rides to the poll, and the Lower Richland NAACP is also giving free rides to the poll. Call 803-312-3086. Now, poll workers are needed for tomorrow. You'll get paid $165 for the day, so you can call 576-1519, 576-1519 if you want to work the polls. Listen, one of the most powerful things we have is our voice. Please make sure you go out and vote and take someone with you. It's voting day tomorrow, but you can still vote early today in Columbia. Go to 2020 Hampton Street. And if you don't live in Columbia, please make sure you Google where your voter registration place is so that you can find out and go ahead and vote. Okay? All right. Angela Carr Patterson is with us today. Angela, listen, we as women, as people, we're going through so much right now. You know, we're talking about a pandemic, but the pandemic is not only COVID, the pandemic is racism. The pandemic is financial, spiritual, emotional. Every single day, there's a pandemic.
There's a pandemic. There's a pandemic.
And the pandemic, anytime we go through stuff, we're stressed, we're concerned, we're afraid. We have so many emotions. And as I said last week when we talked, we typically, our judgment is clouded when we are not thinking clearly, when we go through a lot of things. So this is so timely. Cynthia Watson says, hello, Tre. Hello, Angela. Hello, beautiful ladies. Hey there, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Go ahead and post and share this out because this is going to be a powerful conversation. So whether we are single or we are married, we need tools. To teach us how to love. And you said last week, who teaches us how to love?
Who teaches us how to love? I mean, they taught you how to tie your shoe, ride a bike, drive a car, but who taught you how to love? And we learn love through what we see modeled in front of us. And for most of us, that was
dysfunctional.
Because we're all dysfunctional to a certain extent, but we all come into these relationships with a lot of baggage and a lot of pre-existing programming. And then we meet someone else who has the same baggage and pre-existing programming. And we think that we, just because we love each other and we're drunk on this love, we're addicted to this feeling. And I keep saying Cupid is a drug dealer. And so you're on this high and you think this high is going to last forever. And studies show that this high lasts 12 to 18 months at the most. And then after that, these people that have been married for 50 years, trust me, that euphoric is not there. But there's something called commitment, companionship,
Yes, yes,
that keeps them together. And so, are we, do we look for other things? Tina sang the song about, what's
What's
love got
love
to
got to
do
do
with
with
it?
it?
It
Yeah.
does have something to do with it, but there's compatibility, there's communication, there's
Mhm.
companionship, there's a whole lot of other things that takes place in order to make these relationships work. And it took me, a second time around. This is my second marriage. So the
Right.
first
Yeah.
time I was married for 16 and a half years, and literally 16 and a half years of pain, sorrow and anguish and unhappiness, and because we both just didn't know what we were doing. And we were
Wow.
trying to stick in there, hang in there, because, we had people telling us you needed to try to make it work.
Well,
But
you had children.
we had
Yeah.
children, and so we tried, and to his defense, he did the best he could, and I did the best I could. It just wasn't good enough, and it was
Right.
literally destroying us instead of making us better. So after that divorce, of course, I wore it off. I'm never getting married again. And so, but once I started looking at some things, I had to realize that I had to start with me. If it's to be, it's up to me.
Yes.
For things to
Yes.
change, I got to change. For things to get better, I got to get better.
That's right. And
And
it's
that's
so
exactly what I did.
right. And it's so easy to say the other person this and the other person that. But you're right. We don't have control over that. We can only change what we have
Mm-mm.
control over. And we only have
Mm-hmm.
control of ourselves. Regina Williams has joined us. Hey, Regina, thank you so much.
Hey, Regina.
She says communications is definitely a must-have. And both people
Absolutely.
have to want to communicate.
Mm-hmm. They got to want to communicate. And then it's not just communicating. What's your communication style?
Style. Yeah.
I could say one thing, but you're hearing something totally different. And with men and women, we do hear differently. And so we've got to learn how to speak their language, and communicate it in a way where they understand it. Because, I can't remember his name. He said, how can 7 billion people say they want the same thing? Love, abundance, and peace, and all of these things that we want in the world and in our relationships, and yet we can't seem to find that, because we all say we want the same thing, but we're all going about it differently.
Different
And
ways. Yeah.
different ways. Yeah. And so you got to find the person that's willing to go about it on at least in the same book with you,
Exactly.
on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Candace Belton joined us. She says, hello, everybody. Hey, they're beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have a really good conversation today with Angela Carr Patterson about the 6 secrets. We're going to cover the 6 secrets to make love work during a pandemic. So whether you are single or married, grab your girlfriends, tag someone that you think should be involved in this conversation, should hear some things, so that we can have an open and honest conversation. Andre Barnes has his he's looking and listening.
Andre.
And Andre, we love your input, because this is primarily for ladies. I mean, that we love the testosterone in the room, because you can, speak to what we're talking to, being still a newlywed. Has it been 2 years for you, Andre? Yeah. Hey there. So let's get with it. It's 6 ways to 6 secrets to make love work during a pandemic. Let's start with number 1.
Okay, number one. Let's see. Get my notes. Number 1, the one thing you should never say to a man that you want to love you.
Okay.
And
what's the one thing?
The one question you should never ask him is, can I trust you?
So the one thing you should never ask a man
that you want to love you, that you want to have a relationship with, is, can I trust you?
Can I trust you?
Can you be trusted? I'm looking for someone I can trust, because you set this man up to lose.
Wow.
Because, see, a good man is going to tell you the truth. I've lied. I've cheated. I've done those things. And when he tells you the truth, can you really stay in that with him? Most likely not. But a dishonest man will look you in the eye and say, she's been fooled, and say to himself, she's been fooled before. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so obsessed with trust. And so he will look you in the eye and say, sure, you can trust me. And so you set yourself up because he now feels like you're needy and you want to be rescued from your insecurity.
Wow. Wow. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Yeah. Andre says that's a setup question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying if you tell him, if you ask him, can I trust you? His, it's going to click in his mind. Like Andre said, I'm being set up. One, I don't know what does she want to hear the truth? Does she want to hear a lie? And now I'm responsible now for making everything okay with her. I'm responsible for handling her trust issues.
Yeah. And that's
she got a trust issue. Yeah.
And that's a lot for a man. Men don't want to have that heavy stuff hanging on them. And I tell people, Bill is not my therapist. He's not my counselor. He's my man. You know, I'm not going to dump a whole lot of stuff on him because he's going to go into fix it mode and he may not be equipped to fix those things. I don't need him to rescue me. And see, what happens is women, they know the truth. They know the truth. They know what they need to do. They know the truth. You're not confused. You want to be rescued.
Yeah.
And that's not possible. No one can truly rescue you.
Right. You have to do it for yourself. Heal thyself. Yeah. Andre says, you're saying I've been hurt and I want to control the narrative for his or her pain.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's my boy, Andre. He knows how to give language to it.
He does. He does. True. Yeah. So, and like you say, nobody wants to go into that. Like, you already behind the 8 ball.
You just put him on guard, and he's like, I really like this girl. I'm really liking her, but man, that's going to stick with him in the back of his mind. And so you set him up. You listen to what he does, not what he says. Listen to what he does.
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to do that. Listen to what he does.
Yeah. That's so good, Angela, because you're right. Probably we've all done some things, So can you trust me? Well, if you are basing that on what I did 2 years ago, last year, what are you basing that on? Because I've done some wrong.
We've done some wrong. I mean, he has. I mean, they all have, but we all have. And so don't listen to, it's too early. Can I trust you?
Right.
Come on.
Right. Yeah, you see what Andre said. Yeah. You keeping it gangster out of the gate. That's just one. Yeah, that's just number one.
Yeah.
We're just at number one.
Number one. Okay. Number 2.
Yeah, number 2. Okay.
Men are extremely attracted to happy women.
Yeah.
Women are supposed to be in love with themselves, and men want to share in that. Happy women don't sleep with men who are not in love with them. So are you hurt emotionally and it's a wound that you've opened yourself up and bonded with someone who is unavailable to you? Have a sense of foundation to be happy. Make sure you're already happy and not needing him to make you happy. Happy women pay attention to appreciating what they receive from their man, and they say no to what they don't want, especially when it's immoral, unethical, and illegal. How do you know that you love yourself? You know you love yourself with the contracts that you make with yourself and you keep with yourself.
Angela, there's so much right there. So look, as James Brown said, let's break it down. Listen. First of all, men like happy women. That's good. That's good. I mean, because anybody wants to be involved with somebody that is happy. I mean, that's just basic, that's just 101. You know what I mean? But here, when you go into how do you know when you're happy, you said something that I really want to key in on.
Okay.
You know you're happy when you honor, you said, the contracts with yourself. What does that mean?
Okay, I'm sorry. My husband, he's texted me, I'm doing this show, but he moved the car out of the garage so he wouldn't have to disturb me. But now he got to come back in the house. He said, I got to use the garage. So it's going to make noise. And I just
Okay.
went,
All
said,
right.
can
That's
you
fine,
open the
Bill.
door? And yeah. So, but anyway, the meaning, say for instance, I'm not going to see this man again because he's not good for me. Mm. And then a week later, yeah, he was over. Or you don't tell your girlfriend he was over. It's a secret because you made that contract with yourself, but you didn't keep it. Or you said, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop. And these are contracts that you're promises that you're making to yourself, not to other people. But you don't keep these promises. And so that's an area in your life that you need to love yourself more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
That mean that you don't love yourself at all. It just means there are areas in your life that you've left those unexplored parts of yourself on the table. You've ignored it, neglected them, and you've got to go back and reclaim those parts of yourself that you tend to ignore. There are areas in your life that you're so committed to yourself and you make those promises and you carry them out, but then there are areas that you don't. And I found that a lot of times women are very successful in one area and not successful in another. That just means that that's an area that you need to learn to love yourself more.
Right. So you're saying that's just, like you said, it doesn't mean you don't love yourself. It just means there is there's a void.
There's some work to do.
Yeah, you still have some work to do. You still have some work to do, and you need to work on that to even truly commit yourself to somebody else, because you haven't committed yourself to yourself.
Right. Absolutely. The commitment to yourself is flawed. And we do that. We do that so often. And I hear women say, oh, I love myself. I take myself out. I go to the spa. I go to this. That's external.
Yeah.
But how is that showing up in your life?
Yeah.
How is that showing up in your relationships? And so you got to tell yourself the truth about yourself.
Yeah.
That's the first step to transformation.
Right.
It's looking yourself in the face and telling yourself the truth about yourself.
Regina says it's not a man's job to make you happy. You have to love yourself and be happy with you. A man can enhance your happiness, but not make you happy. Absolutely. Thank you, Regina, so much for your comment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Andre says, that's it. Commit to self and it'll be attractive to the one designed to find you. Yeah, because you're not running around trying to make sure whatever for him. You're taking that time for yourself. And I think so many times we try to give someone else that power to make me happy. I'll be happy when.
Trey. I gotta open the door. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but this is life.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, go ahead. You go ahead and Angela's got to open the door for her husband. So Deanna Brookett says, Angela Carr Patterson, speak, honey. Love you, girl. Thank you, Deanna, so much for watching. Andre says, contract. Don't put a man before your responsibility starting out. He's checking you. Love and commitment. He's checking your love and commitment to your children, your job, and yourself. Andre also says, a woman that's doing her thing for herself and those that depend on her, she's doing it. She's found doing it. Beast mode. We're talking to Angela Carr Patterson. I just did. We're talking to Angela Carr Patterson. She is, Regina said, open that door, girl. And she did. She had to go and open the door for her husband. It's okay.
That's right. I can't be on here talking to y'all and mess my stuff up. I got to go take care of what I got to take care of, regardless of what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, I hear that. Absolutely. But you know what? That speaks to what you were just saying. You were handling your business. In this instance, you are married, So Bill is your business. He is your responsibility. And he's outside. He can't get in. Ain't no way.
I'm not going to sit here and do this and leave him out there. No, I got to go let him in.
That's right. But we're talking to Angela Carr Patterson. She's giving us the 6 secrets to make love work during a pandemic. And as we were saying, whether the pandemic is COVID-19 or the pandemic is racism or the pandemic is financial, spiritual, mental, emotional, we are dealing with a pandemic almost every, I'd say every
day.
single day of our lives. And so many times, as we've said before, we go into love. And of course, we all want love. We all want love, but we don't take that time to love ourselves first. I mean, truly love ourselves, work on our issues, be open and honest enough to do the things we need to do so that we can make love last.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah. So who's this? Oh my goodness. I changed the comments. Deanna Booker said Angela's got a good husband too, and she does have good.
That's why I went to open that door.
That's right. That's why she opened the door, because she got a good husband. That's right. That's right. So so Angela, we talked about number one being to make sure that don't say the one thing not to ask a man is, do you trust me?
Can I trust you?
Can I trust you? Yeah. Number two, men are attracted to happy women. And what is number three? 3 of 6.
Stop mothering your man. Be careful how you treat a man. Once you want him to do it this way, and you don't want him to do it that way, and he needs to do this and he didn't do that, and this is how you do this, you're mothering. And mothering is masculine. Okay, it's a masculine energy. Real men can hold an erection around their mother.
Right.
Okay. Too much protecting, too much cherishing, too much, even though they act like they want it. You know, the only kind of male that wants a mother is a boy. You know, don't get into rebuilding a man and making his life work at your expense.
Right. Right. So Andre says, stop mothering your man. We are not your son.
Yes.
Here's the thing with that, Angela. I think that is kind of a gray area for women, because we see it as we're just nurturing, because we're nurturers. We're nurturers. So I think we see it as nurturing. So how do you differentiate between mothering and just loving and being nurturing?
Allow his ideas to be respected. Allow his ideas to count. Even though you think that he can't do it, allow him to mess up. Like Bill say, I'm not going to get it right all the time, Angela. Am I going to miss it? Yeah, I'm going to miss it sometimes. Right. And it's okay. It's trial and error, but eventually he would get it. But when you don't even give him a chance to do it, I've seen things like, women ask the man to do something and he doesn't jump to it right away, and they just take it and do it. So see, I don't take out trash. I just don't. I don't take out garbage. And so Bill is real good about taking out the trash, but if he hadn't taken it out, I don't care. It'll stack up to the ceiling before I take it out. That's a personal preference for me. Those were some of the things we talked about before we got married, you know. So, but eventually he's going to get to it. I trust that he's going to get to it. If you see him as he can be and not as he is, and treat him the way you want him to be, not tear him down, but treat him the way you see him as he can be, then he will rise up to that level. Wow. Because no one held that space for him to rise up there.
Yeah, I think that's big what you just said. Don't see him as he is. See him as
he can be.
As he can be. Yeah. Don't talk to him where he is. Talk to him where you know he can be. Yeah. Level him up.
Level him up. And he's gonna why? Because I heard T.D. Jakes talk about that one time. He said, you sit in the house and you talk about pastor this and pastor did that and pastor did that and brother so and so and so, and your husband is hearing all that and he's saying like, what and then you're going to church because pastor said we got to be here Monday, I've got to be here Wednesday, and you run into church thinking you're doing the right thing, you're doing God's work, and your work is back at the house. And he talked about men needing to be elevated. If your husband sends you some flowers, get on that phone and say, girl, look what he just bought me, and just go in on it. And he said that's huge with a man. Why? Because as he grew up, mommy praised him for, when he was little, and just pray here. That's huge with him. I built my husband up so much, and in front of the children, especially. So now they see him as the patriarch. They see him as just bigger than life man, because I want them to see him that way.
Yeah, yeah. Andre says, we will become it. Speak life and build, and he will give you the world.
And he will give you the world. You're right, Dre. He will give you the world when you nurture. Now when Bill messed around, locked himself out the house, he did it trying to help me.
Right.
So
he was trying
have
to leave.
bother me, right? And so why would I get frustrated and not, you gotta, every situation is different.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad it happened. It didn't happen by accident. God wanted to demonstrate something.
Exactly. And you're right, Angela. And here's the thing, you're right. He was leaving to help you. Now, you could have been frustrated and say, and you could have gone to the door and say, really, bro? You know what I'm saying? But you could have.
Yeah.
But knowing that he did this for you, he was trying to consider you anyway. Right. So then go say, honey, it's okay. Because here's the thing, he want to text you.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that.
He didn't want to text you because he knew he was disturbing you. So he was probably out there a long time and just.
And he had this look on his face, and I just started laughing, And so things happen, but I'm his partner, I'm supposed to have his back at all costs. That was more important than this, and I had to attend to that. And so we and don't mother him, and that won't even come up unless we laugh about it. But again, you don't give room for human error. But when he says, well, we're going to dinner at 8, well, can we go at 7? He said, okay, we'll go at 7. We're going to Charleston. Well, can we go to Hilton Head? He said, okay. Over a course of time, what you're teaching him is that his ideas don't matter.
Wow, Angela.
You're teaching him that. You are teaching him that. And he will eventually find someone where his ideas matter, not because he wants to. I cannot tell you how many men that I've coached that have had extramarital affairs and was angry because they were cheating, but they couldn't get what they wanted from their wife. Now they still love their wife, but was angry and said, I told her, and because they need that. My mama used to say, keep saying scat, cat. Somebody's going to say, here, kitty, kitty.
Angela, listen, that's so big what you just said, because, and let me just repeat it for the people in the back. And Crystal, thank you for joining us. And Macy, thank you for joining us. And Crystal, I'm going to get to your comment in a minute. If you keep telling him something different, and your analogy was, can we go to dinner at 8? And you say, oh no, let's go at 7. Can we go to Bonefish? So no, can we go to Olive Garden? You are teaching him that his ideas don't matter.
Yes, that's what you're teaching him, that his ideas don't matter.
What? and you know what? Here's the thing, ladies, we don't thinking that, we just making a suggestion.
But that's mothering. That's mothering.
That's mothering. I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute.
Because who taught us? No one.
Nobody taught us.
But Trey, if we paid attention to Big Mama and all of them back in the day, they did that. They just went back.
You're right.
Did that.
You're right. Just like, like Daddy would get the biggest piece of chicken. You know what I'm saying? Nobody got the biggest piece of chicken but Dad. You fed him first, or just little things like that. But you're right. Were we paying attention?
Well, yeah, but we didn't like that. We saw that as being stepped on. We saw that as being subservient, and we made up our minds that we would never, ever do that again. I am every woman. Hear me roar.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Yeah, and that was a time that we
Mm-hmm.
got into this, liberation thing.
Mm-hmm.
And while that wasn't bad, there wasn't anything wrong with that. We should have,
Mm-hmm.
stood up for ourselves, but we cannot then diminish the men in our lives. And listen, I don't want to make it a racial thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm African American, so I just have to say this, especially with our Black men who go through so much anyway in the
Mm-hmm.
streets, in the
Mm-hmm.
job, in the
Mm-hmm.
community. We've got to lift them up. I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, Angela, in my prayer time, I thought about, I want to just go back and just make some calls just to some brothers I know.
I'm sorry. That's right. I
I
had to
love
do it
you.
with my sons. I
I
had to
respect
do it with
you.
my sons the same way. You need to stop mothering a boy once he turns 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies, I don't care if he's not sending child support. He needs to see his father.
Oh, yeah.
Here,
Oh, yeah.
okay? Because here's the deal. You cannot mother a boy. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, I raised two by myself after my divorce. I saw the consequences of that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God I met Bill. He helped straighten some of that
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah.
again, let me tell you, even with a boy, and you ask him to do something, and he would, Mama, and you go do it for him. No, that's mothering him.
Yeah.
After he's about 10 or 12, let him figure it out. He's got to figure it out. If you're not teaching him how to figure things out and you do it for him, when he becomes a man, he's going to look for a woman to do it
To
for
do the
him,
same
but
thing.
he
That's
will
right.
resent her. But yet he will
Wow.
resent her.
Wow. Wow. And that's so big because we are raising the men, obviously, that the next sister, is going to have to deal with,
Yes,
you
yeah.
know? Regina says, yes, we do. We've got to lift them up. We've got to lift them up. And Macy said, this is the whole other conversation, y'all. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right. I want to go back up to Crystal's, who is your daughter, her comment. She says, my mom, Angela Carr Patterson, will let my dad drive around in circles before telling him he's wrong, because eventually he'll find it. But that's allowing him to take the lead and be the man. She says, it's hilarious, but it's brilliant at the
Yeah.
same time.
I'll sit there and read my book. No, I know exactly how to get there, but I let them figure it out. And I read my book and I just smile and read my book. But see, now if I have to speak somewhere, I go the day before, because this could happen. I know my man, he's going to figure it out himself. So we go the day before. So I'm not panicking. I'm not in a rush. I don't go places that I got to be in a rush to get there. And so if we're lost and we're traveling, and I'll just let him drive. It was Chris said, Mama, he's supposed to make that left. Yeah. Shh. Be quiet. Be quiet.
Right.
And he figures it out.
Yeah. And he figures it out without him having to get instructions from you.
From me. Because he wants to men want to be the hero,
man.
and they want to be the hero in his woman's life. He wants to be the hero in his woman's life. He does. He does want to be that. And it's the masculine. You got to start, I studied the masculine and the feminine. And with women, don't get me wrong, we have to function in that masculine energy in our work, because it anchors us in our work. But at home with a masculine man, you can't do that. Yeah. And even in the gay and lesbian community, some are more masculine and some are more feminine energy. And they have to deal with the same thing on balancing that out. Because when you got too feminine, you're going to cancel out too masculine. What's the energy that you're dealing with? Now, if you have a man that's more feminine energy, doesn't mean he's gay. He's more feminine energy, and you have more A-type, then it changes a little bit. You just got to know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, you got to know who you're dealing with. And you know that in time, which, you have to take time, and you have to be conscientious, and you have to listen, and you have to hear, and you have to, again, go back. You've got to know who you are. You've got to know who you are to know who you need in your life.
Absolutely.
And the person that you want, the personality may not be the personality that you need. Crystal says, y'all gonna have to have several parts of this conversation. It's too good. You're right, Crystal. You're right. Well, we already talked about that too. Candace says she normally comments, but she says she's speechless. She's taking notes. Thank you, Candace.
Right.
Thank you guys for continuing to post and share this out. I see you guys tagging different people because, like I said at the beginning, this is a great conversation we need to have as women and men, whether you're single, married, divorced, gay, straight, whatever you are. This is a conversation about relationships, and we are always going to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
And we want good relationships.
We do.
We want successful relationships. This is Angela Carr Patterson. She's a love lifestyle coach. She's giving us 6 secrets, and we're uncovering those secrets to make love work. You can see Angela's information scrolling on the bottom there. And if you want more information, you can definitely contact her. She does take coaching clients. And we're going to talk to you about something else that we talked about today, Crystal, that kind of goes back to what your point is that we're going to do. So we've got the 6 secrets we talked about. 1, don't ask him, can I trust you? 2, men are attracted to happy women. Number 3, don't mother your man.
Don't mother your man.
Which again, that's such a iffy thing, because again, we're nurturers, ladies. We're nurturers. So, we're trying to figure out what's the difference between nurturing and mothering. And like you said, Angela, we've got to be strong and confident, all of that out here in these 2020 streets. We got to be that way, you know. Deanna Brooker says, great information. She shared this in her singles group. Thank you so much, Deanna, because I definitely wanted that to happen. Being a newlywed, Candace said, I always want to learn more about how to be a better wife. So this is so good. That's good, Candace, because here's the thing, Angela, right? We're always learning. We're always learning and growing.
I'm just learning. I just learned he don't like lima beans. I mean, we married 18 years. I just learned he don't like lima beans. So, we're always learning. And so I'm not talking about, I want to make this disclaimer. I'm not talking about you dimming down. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you doing what it takes to make your marriage work and make it harmonious and sustainable. But I'm talking about investing in a way that you reap a real return, because a man that's happy in his marriage and his relationships or whatever, there's nothing he won't do to keep it that way. There's nothing he won't do to love you and to support you and keep you happy, because he knows when you're happy, you make everything else happy. And so, but we have to also understand that they are human and they are masculine. I learned this through a session I went through, and the guy said, your husband is wired to win. Especially he was an officer in the military, but he said, your husband is wired to win. And so I realized, I'm not going to fight him, because I came into this relationship, not another man going to control me. Nobody going to tell me.
Right.
I'm grown and I'm not bowing down to no man, blah, 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 blah. And I realized my man's rhythm is not like that. He doesn't respond that way. I can draw. Remember your mama say you can draw bees to honey?
Yes.
All that stuff they told us is true, and it's you just got to know your man's rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Andre says, that's fire. Your husband is wired to win. Deanna says, yes to a happy man. Regina says that she's been married almost 35 years. She said that she's still learning. She's still learning. We're always learning and growing, and we have to be open to learn. Also, I want to mention that you said that you're not dumbing yourself down, because here's the other thing. You're making sure first that this is a viable relationship, which goes back up to, number 2, men are attracted to happy women. So if you're happy and you're confident and you're good with you, then you have attracted the right person to you. So it's worth making these sacrifices for the person. We're not talking about an abusive relationship. We're not talking about someone that's demeaning you and disrespecting you.
Right.
We're talking about, like Andre said, leveling up to someone who truly is worth your leveling up to.
Right, absolutely. And oftentimes we go to the man and say it's him. But I am telling you, Harvard Hendricks says that it takes two people to tear up a relationship. It takes one to transform it. I have coached men and I have coached women and seen their relationships transform, not coaching both the partners, but just one, and saw their relationships transform because one was committed to transforming it. Now, there are some things that are just unacceptable and you need to cut the cords, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about are the bones good? Are the bones to this? When you say a house got good bones, does the bones to this relationship is good? The bones are good. You can work with that.
That's
you
right.
can work with that. And you can lead in a way. My husband was not a great communicator, but he said I didn't communicate well. And so one day I came home and he said, we're going to counseling. And I said, what are we going to counseling for? I think we've been married about 6 months. And I said, what are we going to counseling for? He said, we're going to communication. I said, I don't need to communicate. I know how to communicate. I've been running a business for the years. And I know how to communicate. Anything I know how to do, I know how to communicate. It's not me. I just need to know, but I'll go with you.
Right. Right.
I went and I realized I didn't know how to communicate to a man, to a real man. I didn't know how to communicate maybe to a boy, but not a man.
Wow.
And there's a way you communicate to a man. And ladies, you can keep tearing him down and disrespecting his ideas. I'm telling you, like y'all need to listen to TDJ's series on emotions.
Emotions. Oh,
he will
God.
go through the emotions, and he'll go through the motions, and there are no emotions left.
Wow.
And he talked about the fact that in one series, he talked about the fact that your husband has left you emotionally and you don't even know. You're up in church, jumping up and down, praising God, and don't even know he's emotionally checked out.
Yeah.
We got to work on that.
Yeah. Nia says he's only going to resent you for it. Lift him up and he will always be his best self.
Oh,
she said that's
facts. He will. I promise you, he will. I love Bill, not just because of the way he loves me, but I knew I had to morph into someone different in order to have this, to get the goodie out of what was there. And if it had ended, it would have been my fault.
Wow.
Because he said, why are you fighting me? Don't fight me. I'm here. I'm on your team.
I'm on your side. Yeah. Yeah. Andre says, be quiet and present and gone. Regina says the bones are good. She says she likes that. Yeah. All right. Wow. Okay.
Do we have?
No, we're out. We're number 4. We're talking. Yeah, we're talking to Angela Carr Patterson. She's giving us 6 secrets to make love work. The show usually lasts an hour, but we're going to keep going. If you guys, need to dip out, it's all good. But we want to keep this conversation going because this is good stuff. And please wait till the end because we've got some good stuff for you. So number 4.
Okay, number 4. Don't confuse great sex with great love. Sex is physical, mental, and emotional. Don't make love until you know what the deal is. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. And if you want marriage and he's looking to just hook up, that's a bad deal. And so you got to be aware of the hormones. Females have oxytocin, and it's a bonding hormone. Friendships, nurturing stimulates oxytocin for women, and it doesn't do it for men. Oxytocin lowers your stress in our bodies and keep us happy. And even if we don't climax, and he does, it will it will pump up our oxytocin just with him entering your walls. And so what happens is you bond with him. You start to bond with him. So now you're fighting chemical. You're fighting science because you're bonding with him. And that's why if he doesn't call you back, your body is saying, I got to have more of the oxytocin. I got to have him. So women bond chemically after sex. When men have sex, they produce a brain chemical called dopamine. Sex becomes so intense that he experienced this huge pleasure in his brain. And this is what cocaine produces in you.
Mm.
So when he has sex with a woman that he's not in love with, he produces huge amounts of this chemical. He's high. He's high. He's actually high. But when a man has sex with a woman who he does love, he produces serotonin, which balances out the dopamine, not lower it, but it does, and it lowers the stress level. So men with low dopamine are always looking to have sex so that it can rise. And this is why he can have sex with someone that he doesn't love and not call back until he needs his next fix. Men crave dopamine, and it's a super high, and it lowers their stress. And other things can raise their dopamine, but feelings of accomplishments and achievements and success and sports and stuff like that. But you have to be aware that you become addicted to him chemically, and he's addicted to you chemically, and you wonder why he hasn't chosen you. He's just chemically addicted to you. And that's why you'll say, well, he didn't call me for 2 weeks and after he slept with me. And then the next thing you know, you're back in his bed 3 weeks later because you are chemically connected to him. And Andrea tell you it's really a deeper level than that. It's a soul tie. And when you look at it spiritually, you're talking about a soul tie. But chemically, you're trying to fight this thing and you can't.
Right.
So it just stays the reason to stay out the bed. You don't know what this is yet.
Right. Yeah, girl. Absolutely. Absolutely. Andre Harvard says, boom. Crystal says that you always told her that a man can have sex with you and dislike you at the same time.
You sure can.
Nia says, Crystal's friend says, men can have sex without an emotional connection. It's easy for them. And as you said, it's just the drug. It's just the feeling. It's just you're horny. It's just the hormones.
And also it raises his dopamine. Remember that gives him a feeling of accomplishment. And so that's why it's so good that your man is working a job, a field that he really loves, and you want to encourage that. And that's why you need to continue to make him feel empowered, because these are the things that they need. We tell each other, "Ooh, Tre, that's a pretty lipstick color you got on," and you say, "Oh, thank you, girl." But if it does something to you, they can't say that to each other. They don't get compliments. They don't get encouragement and stuff. And so we have to look into that man's world and get a idea of what it's like if you're going to be a part of his world.
Yeah.
And vice versa. He needs to do the same thing, but they don't think that way. They really don't think that way.
Yeah, Neil Wiley says that's why you can't give yourself to everybody, and that is 300% correct. And you mentioned this, Angela, that we just have to make sure. And this is obviously for single women. And you say it's hard out here, but we want relationship. We long for that connection to somebody, and you see other people that are having relationships, and of course you always want what you don't have, because you don't know what's
going on, right?
You don't know what's going on at the house, but so it is easy, for lack of a better word, to fall into that. Like you said, we are wired to, if somebody says something nice to us or gives us a little bit of attention. But and you know what? Here's the thing. A lot of men and women laughed when Steve Harvey said, "What was it? 90 days?" He used to say, and I don't know that it's 90 days, and I don't know if you can speak on how long it is. But listen, I do know this. You can't not give yourself to him until you know
what this is.
What it is.
What this is.
It is for him.
What it is for him, not for you. Because I remember when I first was divorced from my first husband, and my brother said something to me. You know, I don't have sisters, so my brothers have to teach me. And so he said, just because you are ready to go and say, this is the one I want to be with and I don't want to see anybody else, doesn't mean he has arrived at that at the same time.
That's right.
Because you're not going to meet anybody that doesn't have somebody in their life. You know, and he was just trying to tell me this is the new single world. You've been married a long time. He said, so when you meet somebody, they got somebody in the corner. They seeing somebody if it's just for a hookup. But just because you arrive at, I want this, that means he has arrived at it at the same time. So there had to be an understanding. When Bill and I decided that we were going to see what this was like, we said, because I was seeing people, he was seeing people, and we were seeing each other, but we were just walking. That's it. We were walking, morning walking partners. And so when we decided, okay, let's go down this road and see what happens. I didn't tell him he had to stop seeing anybody. He didn't tell me, let's go down this road. It was too early to say
anything.
You know, we just been walking a month. That's it. You know, so let's go down this. I like you. So we went on our first date at 3:00 in the afternoon at Trusses Theater. Nothing too heavy, you know.
Right.
We want to go to dinner, the first date, go to breakfast.
Yeah.
Go to breakfast.
Yeah. It's too much pressure on dinner.
Too much pressure on dinner.
Right. It's night. You don't have a couple glasses of wine and boom. Right. And it's tomorrow morning and you still there.
Go to breakfast and go to work. That's it. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got to know, we have to talk about how to date. So let me go to secret 5.
Okay. I want to say hi to Jackie Robinson Brickman. She says, thanks, ladies, for sharing this information. Thank you, Jackie, so much for joining us. I'm Tre Tailor. You're watching Coping with COVID. Angela Carr Patterson has joined us. She's given us 6 secrets to make your love work during a pandemic. Please like and follow the page and continue to share this out because Angela has dropped some great nuggets. So I know that you know some friends that need this information. I do want to mention, Jackie says, you definitely need to take time to get to know the person. Anybody can act or do anything for a little
90 days.
while.
At least 90 days. Yeah. So secret 5, don't compromise or settle, but be willing to do this one thing. Be willing to negotiate. Okay.
Don't compromise or settle, but be willing to negotiate.
That's right. Okay. You know, be willing to negotiate. You know, Bill and I have contracts like, you know, how much time do we want to spend together? You know, how do you handle the money, the kids? You know, you talk about it, you discuss it, you communicate. How do we play non-sexual? How do we play sexual? You know, everything must be negotiated. Everything, you know, household chores. How do you do it? Everything must be negotiated. Are you traditional, non-traditional? What works for your house?
Yeah.
What works for your relationship? Oh, well, they do it over here like, my mom did it like that, but this is a different relationship.
They got nothing to do with that.
They got nothing to do with that. Like I told my son, quit telling your wife your mom cook it like this. Eat it like she cooks it. By the way, she's a better cook than me. Anyway, but still, everything needs to be negotiated. Again, like I was saying the other day, if I have something serious something bothered me that's going on with us, then I say, Bill, look at your schedule and see, you know, when we can talk about da 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 da. I don't go into details, but he knows when I say that. Okay, well, let me look. Now today is Monday. Today Tuesday. What's today?
Monday.
Monday. Okay. Day Monday. He might not do this till Thursday, Friday. He might say, well, I can do it Friday at 10 o'clock. So I got to hold this in me till then. Right. But that's how that was the contract. That's the negotiation contract. When we talk, we put a timer on. Okay, this is a little serious, so maybe let's give this an hour. And then we set the stage. What do I want to accomplish out of this talk? This is what I want. And and so then we use the talking stick and we do it. Now, if it's something else, it could be something with business or the books or something with the business. So, you know, he said, well, let's do it, you know, Wednesday at 10. Well, this won't take but 15 minutes. And we don't need a talking stick. This is not serious. We just go on and talk about it. But I just don't stop. You got to stop what you're doing so we can talk.
Right.
You know, unless it's an urgent thing and an emergency. Your time is important. His time is important. My time is important.
Right.
Sometimes I'll be in here working and he'll come and write a note on my desk right here and say, when you're done, do you have about 15 minutes? And so I know it's something that needs to be attended to then, because I may be on the computer working and he'll just write a note if I'm on the phone and ask me. And then I'll go around to his office and we talk about it. Right. You got to negotiate. When he goes out of town, we go out of town without each other. Call us when you get there. Let me know that you made it safe. Bill and I don't have to call each other every day. Oh, what you doing? What you doing? Why you doing that? If he's gone, let the man have some fun, because I love being home by myself. Yeah. And let me have my fun too. And I'm just home by myself. Why? Because we trust each other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But he'll call and check in. I'll call and check in, but it's not all day.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and it depends. And like you said, it depends on the person. Everybody's love language, everybody's communication style, it's different. So you have to figure out first, who am I dealing with? But that, like Nia says, you have to compromise or don't complain.
Negotiate. You don't compromise. Don't compromise. If you compromise, you giving too much currency of yourself. You're taking too much from you to you can no longer recognize yourself. Okay. That's compromising or settling. You do not. I heard this lady say on that show Love Goes, she said, don't keep setting yourself on fire so you can keep everybody else warm. Don't keep setting yourself on fire just to keep everybody else warm. Right, that's what settling is.
Because you burned up.
You don't burned up. Yeah. So that's what settling is. That's what, when you give too much of your current, what's the currency in your relationship? Is the currency in your relationship, which we call the love language, is it time? Is it physical touch? What is your currency? Bill and I took that test, he brought it home and we took the test and we found out what each other's love language was. And so whatever that is, I need to make sure that I know his love language and I hit that target each time. And so you have to know each other, and that comes from communication.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about don't settle, negotiate. Don't settle, don't compromise, negotiate.
Everything is negotiable. It is.
Yeah. That's number 5 of the 6 secrets of making love work that Angela Carr Patterson is sharing with us. Jasmine Horton says yes. Regina Williams done tagged her husband.
Hey, Greg.
She tagged Greg. And Regina says hi again. So listen, Regina E. Williams. We got a Regina E. and a Regina O. Williams. Hey, Regina.
I know both of them.
So the 6th and final one of the 6 secrets to making love work during a pandemic, what is number 6?
I want to talk about what we each want and need. Men love women whom he can feel his innocence in her presence. Okay. Women are relationship oriented. Men are project oriented. Men feel good when they do good. Women do good when they feel good.
Stop and say that again. Stop and say that again.
Right. Women do good. We do good when we feel good.
When we feel good.
Men feel good when they do
good. They do good. Yeah. Okay. And that goes back to what you said. They want to be the hero. They're action oriented.
They're action oriented. They're project oriented. If I do this, I can check it off and I'm going to get this. We are relationship oriented. Listen, Valentine's Day is for you. It is not for him. The wedding is for you. It's not for him. The dinners and all of that is for you. It's not for him. He want to get to the cookie, but he know we got to do the dinner to get to the cookie. Okay, I'm just shooting you straight. Our friend Tommy says they want sports, sex, and sports, sex, and a sandwich, basically. And they're very simple. You can't hate them for it. They're just simple. And simple is good because it makes it easy for us. Good men, they give, they protect, and they cherish their women. In return, he expects appreciation, respect, and fun. So good men, they give, protect, and cherish their women. In return, he expects appreciation, respect, and fun.
Appreciation, respect, and fun.
Complementary energy attracts intimacy. Competition energy neutralizes energy.
Right,
So
right.
you want to one up him. He came home and he did this today and he did that today and they were raving about it and da 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 da. So now you ready to one up him. Let him have his shine. Let him have his shine. And then make a lot of noise about it. You can talk about yours. You talked about yours with your girlfriends and they hulaed you. Let him have his shine. And you must be open, ladies. You must be open to being cherished, protected, and given
Right.
to. Because most women say, well, men are afraid of successful women. Listen, it's not much a man is afraid of, a badge of honor. And you want him to see your success and not you. And he's looking for you, not your success.
Wow. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
So that's it. What we
Yeah.
need, we got to know what we need and what we each want. And they're different things.
Right. Yeah. So is that a conversation though, Angela? Because here's the thing. I think sometimes people don't even know what they need and what, well, I think we know what we want, but that's not always what we need.
Because what happens is our wants are masqueraded as needs. That we
Okay.
masquerade them as needs and they're not really needs.
Right.
But that's about really getting clear. Where do you start? Get clear about who you are.
Right.
And
Right.
never sacrifice who you are for the good of a relationship. Love and accept all parts of you.
Yeah.
Let go of the past and forgive. And get help with your beliefs, your blocks, and your barriers to love. You can't do it yourself. You cannot talk yourself out of an erroneous belief system. You can't see your blind spots. You can't see this stuff yourself. It's hidden, muted, and it's showing up in your life. These patterns, it's showing up in your life, and you think you're okay. And I promise you, you're not. You're meaning that you're not broken. You're not broken. You're just wounded, and wounds
Right.
heal.
And you're human.
And you're
You're
human. And no doubt you've been wounded by somebody else that was injured. And
right.
so,
Because hurt people hurt people.
hurt people. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's so good. That's so good, girl, because, I don't know. We just have so many unresolved issues. We have so many unresolved issues and we take them into our lives. We take them into our loves. And until we are honest with ourselves to figure out, I'm the common denominator.
When you're single, you think, wow, I'm ready. I remember when I was divorced, I was like, the man that get me, oh, wow, he's going to get somebody that's ready. I got in the marriage and I was like, whoa, I'm like, what is this? Because see, relationships reveal to you who you are. They are mirrors. They are mirrors. And if you're listening and you're in tune, you know that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You just need to tilt here a little bit, shift, pivot, shave off this. This is coming from that. I remember my brother said, don't let Bill pay for stuff that your ex did to you.
That's right.
And he was right. He was right. But people got to care enough to call you on your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Andre says this is a good time to fix it. You're right. Any time is a good time to fix it. I mean, many of us are still home and kids are home and, we've got time. We've slowed down, which is why I think some of our anxiety is so high, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I think any time is a good time to fix it. Andrea, I actually think, Angela, the best time to fix it is when you realize that it's something that needs to be fixed.
Right. And it needs to be fixed. And there's nothing wrong with going to counseling. There's nothing wrong with getting some additional help because you cannot talk yourself out of an erroneous belief system. And let me tell you, you're not going to always get it out of a book, as much as we want to. Sometimes we have to go deeper. Some of us got to heal down to a cellular level. Your emotional programming is in place from the time you're from 8 months to 8 years, no, from birth to 8 years old. You got about 80% of how you think and what you believe is already in place. And by the time you get 18, another 15%. So at 95% of how you think, what you say, what you do, what you believe, your patterns of behavior, your patterns of thought are already fixed in place. So you got 5% that's free. So what do you got to do? You got to go back and clean out the other 95% and replace it with something new, something that serves you better.
Yeah. Candace Belton says being self-aware is a powerful tool.
It's a powerful tool.
And, sometimes we don't like what we see, but it's okay, because you can change.
Yeah.
You can be okay.
We have to face what we don't want to face, and see what we don't want to see, and admit what we don't want to admit. And every day I ask myself, okay, every morning I wake up and, who am I and what am I supposed to be doing? And this is what God gives me the strength to do this. And every night, did I do the things that was in alignment with who I said I was? And every night my answer is no, because I missed it. So I self-correct, atone, and start again.
Right. It's an ongoing process.
This doesn't have an expiration date. Yeah. So I mean, this thing is ongoing. We're still a work in progress. Are we gonna miss it? Yeah. But in the morning I ask myself, who am I today? Who do I want to be today? And I try to show up as that person, but I miss it every single day. We all do. But that's grace.
That's great. I was going to say, give yourself some grace.
Some grace and mercy that's renewed every day, every morning.
Every day. New grace and mercy every day. Yeah, that's what Candace says. At first Regina said, oh, she's really going to be ready when she finds that man. Then she says, oh, I guess I won't be ready. But no, Regina, you can't be ready. You will be. If you want to be. If you want to be. It's a choice.
It's a choice. What I want to say to everybody, that's looking for love or wanting to be loved, not only is love possible for you, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. It really is. It's just gathering the right tools and the skill sets, because who taught you how to love? Nobody.
Right.
I didn't even know what it looked like.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So so in essence, it's really not even your fault. You were raised how you were raised, and you were exposed to what you were exposed to. And then until you got to a maturity level to even recognize that you needed something different, or that something different needed to be in your life, then you've got to figure out, okay, so what is it? And then how can I get it?
And how can I get it? I know. And the man that I sleep with every night knows that. And my children know that I can't be on here saying this to you guys and not trying to live it at the house, because that would have them looking at me sideways.
Yes.
I try to show up as authentic as I can. And I remember one day I was leaving home and he said, stop by Sonic, get me a Sonic Blast. And something he had said that I was mad about. I said, I'm not. And he said, you will. And I said, why? He said, because you're a better person than me. See, he's like, you will. And he know I will.
Yeah. Andre says that Angela, he thinks, Delane, that you have to assist us as men is the mother in you that pulls out the boy in the man and leave the man intact. He said that you are anointed for this. She is, Andre. Thank you.
Thank you,
balance is the grace of mercy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Ministry.
There are a couple of other comments that I wanted to mention, if I could go back to them. Gwendolyn says that she loves it. She said she's going to run back upstairs and hug her husband. She said she'll be right back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we have to have these conversations, because what is conversation? Like, she want to run and hug her husband because she heard, like, I have something valuable here. We have to be reminded. And in our community, not just in our community, but specifically our community, we got to fight for the family. We got to fight to hold us together. It's too many casualties. I was a fatherless daughter because my mom and dad were divorced. There are too many casualties, and being a fatherless daughter play some mind games with me.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you said, Angela, I mean, we start from a place where it's just an open place where we don't know, we don't have the skills. We don't have the skills and the information to base love and life. We're just going,
How to make it work.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing, some people have that, and that's great for them. But then there's some people who don't. Want to say hi to Rashonda Pratt. Thank you, beautiful, so much. Yeah, hey, Rashonda. And then there's somebody from Tarini Agupi. Do you know? She's from something. I think she's from Africa. Something. It says Garagangwa Natanyanda. I don't know. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We've gone over, guys, but we wanted to go over the hour today because Angela was dropping some great nuggets to us. We've been talking about 6 secrets to make love work in a pandemic. And as we said, whether the pandemic is COVID, whether the pandemic is racism, whether the pandemic is whatever you're dealing with spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, every day we're dealing with something that affects us in our love life because we bring all of our experiences into that. And 9 times out of 10, we throw them on, we cast them on the people that we love. We just lash out. We lash out and we don't keep top of mind that these are the people I love, respect, honor, and these are the people that I should show love to, not just, disrespect and dishonor because we're upset, so it's really even learning how to love correctly. Absolutely. And sometimes we get so caught up in life that it's difficult to do that. Candace says she lives in Kentucky, and every time we went out in public, we would have people of other races come and tell us how we're such a beautiful family. The family unit is so important. It is.
It really is important. It is. It really is.
Ashton Williams Sr. says, great stuff. Thank you so much, Ashton. I appreciate you watching. Gwethlyn says this was really good. Crystal says, she said she thought it was, she was wondering when was part 3. Well, Angela was on last Monday, and we just did something very short, and then she had already had this webinar set up. So we said we will go ahead and do this. And people are saying, we need to keep it going. Well, and we talked about doing some type of series. So so please continue to listen up. So as you can see, it's scrolling. If you want to contact Angela Carr Patterson, her website is scrolling on the bottom, lovestoryexperience.com. You can go to angelapatterson.com for more information. Tell us about how people can contact you, Angela. Like I said, it's scrolling though.
Well, I'm going to be, I told you all my coaching slots are sold and they usually stay. So every now and then I have 1 or 2 come open and then somebody grabs them. But what I've done is I've allocated some space for 90 days where I would take on 4 new clients, just a 90-day redefining love for you and help you to enhance and navigate your way in your relationships or finding love. And we're going to start with helping you to identify your blocks and your barriers and your beliefs to love. And then we will examine your excuses and your justifiables. We have justifiable things that we tell ourselves, and they're juicy and they're justifiable, but they're really excuses. And so we're going to examine those, and then we will see where you are and where you want to go and map out a plan to do that and break through those blocks, barriers, and beliefs that have been keeping you stuck in your relationship or keep you from finding the love you want. It's 90 days. And so this is private. So what I have, if you go to Love Story Experience, there's a link that you can click to schedule a time to talk with me. And it's a 30-minute session, complimentary. And I'll share with you the cost of this 90-day. If you don't want to do it, absolutely okay. People will tell you, I do not, when you give resistance, I don't come back with, well, you should do this. No. We're just having a conversation.
Right.
And so I have some slots set up for this afternoon, only a few, because I can only take 4 for the coaching for the 90 days. And would love to do that. And Trey and I have talked about doing a summer series on relationships. But this is not the private is to deal with your own personal stuff.
Right.
But I would love to do a summer series and talk more about these relationships so we can make love work, y'all.
Absolutely. We need to make love work. I mean, I think I said this last week that the song that has been resonating in my soul is Stevie Wonder's Love's in Need of Love Today. Mm-hmm. And the root of I believe it's all of our problems. I mean, racially, really is love. We don't love ourselves first, and we sure don't love each other enough. So we need to lift ourselves up first. We need to lift ourselves up first, and then learn how to love other people. Ashton says, what are some good books to read for married couples?
Ooh, there's one that Miles Monroe had out that was just absolutely amazing. Ashton, what I'll do is I'll post them on my page and tag Trey with them. I'm running a blank, but I've got some great books that I think are going to really help you for married couples, because of course the love language, the 5 love languages.
Yeah, 5 love languages.
But there's a workbook that goes along with that too. And for those people like Rashonda and her husband, they have a church. I would love to see some people host those 5 love language workshops and sessions. The workbook is hilarious. It's just wonderful. And there's a set of videos that go with them. And so if someone could use that, and Bill and I went through that program, amazing. Yeah. So I would start there, because that opens up a whole nother level of conversation between you and me. And then there's some that we need to learn how to talk, how to create intimacy, real intimacy. Intimacy is where both of you come together. It's not sex, but both of you come together and you can't tell where one begins and one ends. That's intimacy.
Yeah. Nia Wiley says His Needs, Her Needs by William Harley is great. Gwethlyn says The Purpose and Power of Love and Marriage by Miles Monroe.
That's it. That's what we're talking about. Miles Monroe, yeah.
And Gwethlyn also says, she said her husband is amazing and they have a great relationship, but a love refresher is always good.
Always good. And then I want you, and when it's not good, tell the truth. Don't say, well, the glass is, talk about the glass being half empty, but it is half empty or half full. It's half full, but it's half full with dirty water. We get on this kick about being positive, but we're not telling the truth. And until we get to the truth, until we give that thing a name, we cannot change it. We got to tell the truth and give it a name.
Yeah. Honesty. Ashton says, perfect. Thanks so much. Crystal says you can also watch TD Jakes' The 4 C's. She said you made her watch it before she got married. She said, and that's really good stuff.
Yeah. I think that was part of the Fighting for the Families series that he did. And I'm telling you that DVD series by TD Jakes, Fighting for the Family, it's going to set you down. It's going to set you down. It's an old series, but it's still worth getting.
So Ashton, like I said, she Angela said she's going to put you see some people have suggested some books. She said she's going to suggest some and also tag me. But I would suggest you email her or go to lovestoryexperience.com and just
session.
Do one of those complimentary sessions and have a conversation with her, you by yourself or you and your wife, and just talk about some of the things that are concerning you or that you're thinking about. And I believe that it'll be a great conversation with you. Again, you see Angela's information scrolling, lovestoryexperience.com. If you want more information about Angela, or if you want to take advantage of one of those complimentary sessions. She's got 4 slots available. It's absolutely positively free for you to have a conversation with her and make a decision as to whether or not you would like to work with her. Please do that. And then, like Angela said, we're talking about doing a summer series. So I'm very excited about continuing to have that conversation, because we've got to, like I said, heal ourselves first, work on us so that we can then get and give the love that we want and deserve.
And I'm telling you, nothing makes a woman blossom when she's being loved and cherished the right way. Yeah. I'm telling you, it really does make a difference. That it makes a difference. I did not know what it could be until I really, found my bill, and so.
That's good stuff. Angela Carr Patterson, lovestoryexperience.com. Please check her out. The information is scrolling. Please continue to post and share this interview so we can spread this important, great message to the masses. Please continue to like and follow me on the Tailor Made Productions page. We are, as I said, going to move the show to the Tailor Made Productions page. So please make sure you are liking and following that page so that you can watch the broadcast and get all of your COVID-related updates. And don't forget that tomorrow on Coping with COVID, we're going to talk to Pamela Bino-Reed. She's the marketing manager with the Comet. She's going to give us some information about the Comet bus system and what they are doing to honor an African-American heroine. Then on Wednesday, we'll talk to State Representative Gilda Cobb-Hunter. She's going to talk to us about some legislative changes concerning COVID and the schools coming up in fall. We're going to have a couple of parents that are going to talk with us about that. We're also working on a couple of shows with some COVID survivors, some folks in our community that have gone through COVID and survived. And also we're working on a show with some entertainers and a manager of one of our entertainment venues as far as when we're going to be able to go back to concerts. So we're going to work on all of that and more coming up on Coping with COVID. Now, I usually leave with Jesus Calling. I said I was going to read something else that the book dropped. So excuse me, y'all. This is Conversations with God. This is from Cheryl Mims Williams. Cheryl is with Agape Christian Counseling, and she is just an amazing, good grief. Jackie said she wants to repeat the site. Here, let me give it to you, Jackie. Here is Angela's information. Do you see it on the ticker? Jackie wanted to get the site. So yeah, she is an amazing therapist. I go the 13th of every month. She was with us earlier, and then she has this book, and it says it's a compilation of scriptures and simply being at the feet of God, allowing him to speak to the heart. It says God wants us to know what he hears, and he answers our prayer. He loves us, and he's speaking the words we long to hear. She said she wrote this as a reminder that he cares and he's always with us. This morning, I opened up the book, and it came to this page. It says, it saddens me when you struggle all alone, especially when I'm right here. This is Jesus talking. My desire, my child, is for you to rely more and more upon me. Trust me, talk to me about anything. Constantly rely on my Holy Spirit to lead and guide you. Don't ever be afraid or ashamed to come to me. I'm here for you to lead and guide you, direct you, comfort you, and instruct you. Use the powers I have given you. This is why I gave you my spirit, that I can live inside of you and be with you at all times. You and I are one. There's really no separation. Wherever you are, there I am. This is from Conversations with God with Cheryl Mims Williams. If you want to get a copy of the book, go to Agape Christian Counseling. I think the book is like $5. It's such a great book. And it just is a compilation, like I said, of words from the Lord and scriptures that will empower you every single day. I promise you. Monica says, what about the love story after a spouse is experiencing in sickness and in health? How strong and supportive the caretaker has to be. Monica, that's great. And I know that's a whole show. You're right, Monica, and you'll be involved in that one for sure. So once again, thank you guys so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. Like I said, if you have a product or a service or a message that is COVID related and you'd like to be a part of Coping with COVID, please inbox the Tre Tailor Made Productions page or email me at TailorMadeProductions@gmail.com. And let's talk about how you could be a part of Coping with COVID. Thank you again so much. Angela, thank you so much. So good, girl.
Thank you.
You guys take care. Stay well.
Okay.
Bless.
Bye-bye.